Hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 113 of our Get Your Goals annual challenge. This month we're focusing on our spiritual well-being, our spiritual goals. Since we're focusing on goals, I'm sharing via my life framework. It's a 9-part life framework. And each month of 9 months out of the 12 this year, we're going to focus on and really dive deep into the goals in that area and aspect of our life. Why? So that we can create systems and processes and have tools to make achieving whatever we want in our life easier and faster than we ever actually dreamt or imagined possible. So today we're talking about the topic and the concept of ascension. Ascension meaning it's a natural process that we all go through in terms of our personal development and our personal growth. And with respect to spirituality, it's called ascension, meaning we ascend to higher levels of something. It's really common metaphor and analogy in business and in life that we go through different stages and processes, hopefully becoming a better version of ourselves as we go through each experience and stage that we have in our life. Now, I found a really interesting breakdown of the 5 stages of spiritual awakening. Ascension is basically spiritual awakening, understanding that there's more to life and more to existence than just our day-to-day lives, just the life that we're living and the emotions we're going through, sometimes actually on a subconscious level. I went through like decades of my life just running through my life, not really thinking about or paying attention to anything that had to do with my personal spiritual well-being or health. Heck, I wasn't even paying attention to my physical health, much less my mental health, my emotional health, or my spiritual health. So I'm going to share those 5 stages. Then I'm going to talk about some practical steps that we can use to help us ascend and grow and develop spiritually, which helps us to achieve our spiritual goals and objectives. And then our action item today is just going to be, I'm going to ask you, if you're brave, you don't have to share. I'll share mine, where you think you are on the 5 levels of ascension, as well as what do you plan to ascend to spiritually with respect to spiritual goals? What is a spiritual goal you're working toward so that we can help each other work toward our goals? And hopefully we don't have to hold each other accountable. Spirituality is such a personal journey. Unless you want to seek out and ask somebody for help or to be an accountability partner, we don't do it. I don't have a spiritual accountability partner. So what are these 5 stages, or 5, what do they call them? Yeah, stages of spiritual ascension. Number 1, awakening of the mind. Have you ever been going around and doing something and all of a sudden you have this aha moment or epiphany or thought about something, or all of a sudden past experiences remind you of something that you're going through right now? That would be an example of awakening of the mind. First thing that happens when we're ascending spiritually and growing spiritually and achieving our spiritual goals is we have these epiphanies, these aha moments. We all have them. It's just a matter of, are we paying attention to them? And the more consciously aware of them we are, the faster it is to achieve our spiritual goals and the faster it is for us to ascend. The second stage of spiritual awakening is awakening of the personality. Now, this one's interesting because there's lots of things that happen to us that I guess hurt us or harm us or shame us or cause us to feel bad or ignore parts of ourselves. I'm trying to think of some examples of when I was a kid that caused me to be less of who I was. I was pretty bossy and opinionated when I was a little kid, and I got shut down a lot for that by teachers, by people that I was around. And I would lose my, I'll tell this one, pop the cork. When I was a little kid, was pretty energetic and a little bit explosive sometimes. And so my family started saying, pop the cork, when they wanted me to calm down. Because if, you tell somebody to relax or calm down, they pretty much never do it. So they would say, pop the cork, Sherry, because they called me Sherry. And, sometimes it would work. Sometimes it would make me madder, right? As a little kid. But that taught me to shut down parts of my personality. Don't be so energetic. Don't be so excitable. Don't be so emotional. Don't be so who you really, really are. And because of that, I made different choices, different decisions, and had different experiences in my life. And part of this, the awakening of the personality, is to remind us to accept and love who we really are and who our spirit and what our spirit really is, right? Some of the parts of us we love, some of the parts we don't love and want to embrace, but it's about embracing all of who we are. And that's what happens at the second stage of spiritual awakening. The third stage of spiritual awakening is awakening to our spiritual energy. We are energy. Everything is energy, right? If you've learned anything about metaphysics and quantum physics, you know that they've proven that everything in the world is energy, not just things like electricity, everything. And we're all made up of, protons, neutrons, and whatever. We're all made up of microatoms and energy. You can break particles down to smaller and smaller pieces, but basically everything is always moving and always energetic. We all have our own energy, our spiritual energy and vibration that we operate at. And this level and stage of spiritual awakening is all about understanding and embracing that. There's something called the Kundalini, which goes through our chakras. We have energy centers in our bodies, etc. And I'm not going to get into all this because I don't even pretend to understand it all, but I do know that there are ways to work in concert with our energy or push against our natural energies. The fourth spiritual awakening stage is awakening of the soul. And that is when we connect with who we really are, our soul, our spirit, whatever you call it, when we're connected with that and we behave and act as one. I've had a couple glimpses of that, but I would say I am definitely not there yet. And finally, the fifth stage of spiritual awakening or spiritual ascension is total awakening or enlightenment. Again, I don't know that I've even ever had glimpses of total awakening or enlightenment. I would say I've had one, and that's a very personal experience when I had a sudden cardiac arrest and checked out for a while. That would be my one experience with that. So a little taste of it. And I know that that's what I want to grow and ascend to be, is that kind of a human as a spiritual awakening and spiritual being. So those are the 5 stages: awakening of the mind, awakening of the personality, awakening of the spiritual energy, awakening of the soul, and total awakening or enlightenment. So that would be the ones. Where do you think you are on that? I would say I spend most of my time these days in stage 3, which is awakening of the spiritual energy. However, stuff happens in our life all the time that, like, it's like going through any process. You go back and forth a little. You don't just run through the whole process, usually the first time, like any kind of a process. But that's where I would say I personally am at. And then what are some ways to help us to ascend, to become more of what we want to be when it comes to our spiritual well-being, our spiritual health, and to achieve our spiritual goals? Number one, some practical steps to ascend and get our spiritual goals would be, of course, we've talked about this so much, being more mindful and meditating, being present, and actually experience what's going on right now with ourselves in any given situation. It is so natural for us to be thinking about the past or worrying or fretting or concerned about the future. It's very challenging for us as humans to stay in the present moment. Yet everything happens right now, right? We can't go back and change the past. We can't do anything about it. We can't control other people and the stuff they do. We can't control how we or change how we behaved or acted in the past. We can only act and do anything right now. And the future, guess what? That's not guaranteed. That's not guaranteed for any of us. We don't know what's going to happen, which makes life actually pretty darn interesting. Anyway, so mindfulness, meditation, stay in the present moment. I just added that one. Secondly, increase your self-awareness. Know how different things impact you and affect you. We all have triggers and things that irritate us or things that trigger us to be happy and to be more spiritual. Third, practice gratitude. How many times have we talked about practicing gratitude in the last 3 or 4 years? 4, live with compassion, meaning be kind, right? Can't we just be kind to one another? 5, practice forgiveness. Again, we talked about forgiveness a whole day this month. It is for you, not for the other person. Forgiving is not forgetting. Forgiving is just moving on. And mostly it's forgiving yourself for the role you think you played in whatever situation or experience that you had. And finally, 6, build healthy relationships. And we'll talk about that more when we focus on the month of relationships. as part of the life framework, because relationships is one of our 9 life framework areas. So our action item today, what do you plan to do to ascend to via your spiritual goals? What are you ascending to achieve with respect to your spiritual goals? And is that part of this year's plan? Maybe it's not even part of this year's plan. Maybe this year you're just getting in touch and defining what spirituality and spiritual goals are for you. And you're picking one spiritual goal. That just say, hey, I got one spiritual goal. It's got nothing to do with ascension. And then if you want to share where you are on the 5 stages, awakening of the mind, awakening of the personality, awakening of spiritual energy, awakening of the soul, or total awakening. And if you're total awakening, make sure that we're friends so you can help coach and teach me how to get there. All right, have an awesome day. Any questions, hit me up. Otherwise, I'll be with you tomorrow.